Heidi Ho neighbors, Rado Goji here, and welcome back to Squeeze the World Toys. Today we're going to be continuing our Muteki Shogun build with set number 4, which is Blue Logan, the wolf thing that Ninja Blue uses. If White Kark was any indication, we should be able to get them with this particular video with about, I guess, about 45 minutes of footage. That's about how long White Kark was. And White Kark and Blue Logan basically use the same sort of mold and engineering because they both form arms in the combination. Here's candy. Eat the candy. Oh, and here's a sword. Let's get all this stuff out of here. So yeah, White Kark didn't take too long to build. So I don't expect Blue Logan to either. Which is fine because I actually plan on doing these videos today. I don't really have... I was going to, the plan was to do these once per day, but then I remembered that on Thursdays, I really don't have a lot of time to do stuff like this, because Thursdays are my normal recording day with Greg. And then, Friday, I'm not even really home until like later on at night. And then, Saturday, I have a bunch of other stuff I need to be editing anyway, so I'm not really going to have time. I'm really not going to have any time to do anything because I'm going to be editing all day on Sunday, too. So I'm really not going to have the time to do anything until, another video of these until, like, Monday. And by then, these videos would have already started going up, but I do have plenty of time today, so I'm just going to go ahead and just get the final 2 videos in this series over with. Not that it really matters, they're still going to be going up on different days. So there you go. Yeah, here's the sword there. I don't know what the sword is called. It's probably in kanji, because a lot of the swords sometimes, especially if they have... Oh yeah, that's in kanji. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look up what the sword's name is. What's the sword called? Oh, just Flaming Shogun Sword. That's all it is. Kaien Shogun Ken. Just Flaming Shogun Sword. Okay. That's, nice. Rolls off the tongue there, so I don't have any problems with calling it that. So the Flaming Shogun Sword. And yes, in the show, I have seen clips, it does actually catch on fire as it's about to slash the enemy. Kind of odd choosing to go with the blue component, but honestly, I don't really think it makes that much of a difference. Okay, so yeah, about the same number of sprues here as White Kark, same number of stickers and everything too. So that's going to be a nice, quick one, I think, which is good because Black Gamma is probably going to take forever, considering that Yellow Kumar took about an hour to build, maybe a little less than an hour to build. Black Gamma is going to take about the same amount of time, plus we have to do the combination and the review of the actual robot once that's done. But with all the stuff that's been happening with the Lupin Ranger stuff, as far as collecting goes, I've actually made plans just kind of pare down what I'm getting, because the Jackpot Striker is going to be really, really expensive to get a hold of now. And I don't think it's necessarily... I mean, I said before that I wasn't going to think it was a big deal getting it for the price they have it listed at, because that's how much I would have been paying with shipping anyway, but still, I've kind of dropped out of wanting it, so I'm not going to get it now. For the remainder of Lupin Ranger, I'm just going to do what I plan to do with the Kamen Rider ZO figures and just get the ones that I want. So I'm not going to be getting the Jackpot Striker because it's not going to be worth it to me anymore at this point. And I'm also not going to get the Lupin Magnum. I was kind of iffy on it to begin with. And one of my major thought processes was, with the Siren Striker coming out and the Victory Striker sometime afterwards, was that I was under the impression considering the Good Striker and the Jackpot Striker, that the Siren Striker and the Victory Striker were going to be like their own kind of central combinations that could make, like, you know, additional robots for better storage of all these components. But as it turns out, that's not the case. I looked at pictures of Siren Striker that's coming out. Siren Striker's coming out this month, and in order to make the robot form for that, you still need Good Striker. All Siren Striker is doing is just making another chest plate head combination. I thought it was going to like do that in, like, in addition to like the legs and everything, but no, you still need Good Striker in order to make the full robot. So I'm going to be having, you know, just like loose components everywhere anyway. And while I am glad that I did get the ones that I do have now, I'm not saying that I regret picking up the ones that I do have. I don't think it's going to be worth it to me to try to go out of my way to get all these other things just to have the kind of component storage that I'm not even going to be able to get anyway. So while I am still going to get the Siren Striker, looks pretty darn cool, so I'm still going to get that. And I am still very much interested in the Victory Striker, because that looks cool too. I'm really not interested in the Jackpot Striker anymore, because it's not even going to be worth it to me once that comes out, well, once that comes out, it's already out. Once I can get if I can even get my hands on one for a decent price. But I'm just kind of iffy on the Lupin Magnum in general. It just reminds me a lot of Zuban from Bokenger. Like, I didn't even get Zuban at first when that first came out all those years ago. That was like 12 years ago. Bokenger was coming out with their stuff. I didn't even get Zuban at first because I really didn't care. I was like, look, this thing is not going to be able to combine with any of the other robots. It's not going to be fully compatible, so there's really not going to be much of a point in me going out of my way to get it. The only reason I got Zuban eventually was because of a clearance sale at HLJ. They put it up for sale for like $15 or something like that. I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'll buy them at that price. So I did. I mean, but at the time, you know, money really wasn't too much of an object. I was still living with my parents and all that, so I really didn't mind all that much. Lupin Magnum really isn't going to be all that much worth it to me, because I really, really don't want another roleplay toy that just happens to turn into a robot that just happens to be compatible with, you know, putting components on him. So I'm just gonna pass them up. And it's not like I can really readily get them right now anyway, because these days, the way that things are really turning out, like when the first wave goes, it goes, and you don't see it again for like another week sometimes. That's how it is with a lot of the like the full robot sets, like the sets for Pat Kaiser and Lupin Kaiser. I think this is in a weird crooked angle. One moment. And while I'm fairly sure that you can get those sets now, if they may be a little bit more readily available, like they were like when HLJ first got those in back at the beginning of the year, and they like sold out like immediately, they were being listed as discontinued. I mean, the components themselves were still sold separately and all that. It's just like, I guess it was just like a kind of a bonus thing to have them in the box. And the normal components, you know, other than the Jackpot Striker being a limited edition, being a limited release thing for the movie. But I don't know about Lupin Magnum. Lupin Magnum seems to have disappeared from their storefront at the present moment. And I'm fairly sure they'll get some more, but, you know. At the very least, the other stuff that I really do want, like Siren Striker, I'm just going to go ahead and pre-order it once I get paid, because I have a feeling that's going to be one of those ones that is probably going to disappear for a while. At the very least, like the Zeo armor sets seem to be okay. Like, it took me a while before I was able to find an actual Zeo figure. And I think the build armor at first. But like the Forza armor, I'm going to be getting the Forza armor. Forza armor's still up there. On the HLJ, anyway. You know what I think I'm doing? I think I'm putting these parts in wrong. Yeah, I did. Okay. That's the problem. That was my fault. Okay, there we go. Much better. Yeah, the Forza armor, at least on HLJ, still seems to be up. I'm really interested in that. Oh no. Oh no. No, 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 no. Do not break that. Okay, good. I'm just running into all kinds of speed bumps today. Okay. This is in properly now. Yes. We're all good. We're all good. So many close calls with this, I swear. Okay, so Forza armor is still very much in stock, so I can just easily get that. And the O's armor is still up for pre-order, so I'll grab that as well. So more than likely by next week I'll have the Forza armor, plus I'll be shipping my Gal Figar model up, so I'll start doing videos on that. I'm already afraid that I'm at a point now where I'm running out of toys to do videos on. Because I'm pretty much cycled out of getting new Transformers. I have most of the ones that I wanted. I mean, all of the ones that I wanted and could get at a decent price, I already have. There are still some characters that I want in figure form. Like I want an Ultra Magnus, I want a Springer, an RC, a Wheeljack, a Sunstreaker, but a lot of those figures were like, you know, limited release things. Like, I don't know, 5 years ago. I know the Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus is pretty good, but and I was gonna get him at one point because he used to be listed for Amazon for like $70. Which isn't too terrible for something that's a discontinued leader class figure from only a couple years ago. Now he's up to like 90, and I'm not going to spend that much on him. And if I'm not going to spend 90 on an Ultra Magnus, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm not going to spend 90 on RC or Springer, because they were limited release. Generations Wheeljack is still like $70, and I don't know. I really don't know what kind of version of Sunstreaker I would want to get. Like the Combiner Wars one seems okay, but the I kind of like the I think it was the Universe Sunstreaker a little bit better. I'm not gonna spend hundreds of dollars on a frickin' masterpiece. No way, Jose. That's not going to be a thing that happens. But for a decent Sunstreaker figure, I could probably get the Combiner Wars one if I really wanted to. And I'm kind of looking at Battle Trap, Powerful Prime's Battle Trap figures, but I really don't think I'm going to be going for it just straight up, because I don't really have any nostalgia for Battle Trap. I just saw Theo Adams' video on it at some point, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool thing. But I don't know. I don't think it's something that I would really want to go out of my way to get, in all honesty. I ended up not making any videos while intoxicated last night. I decided not to. I wanted to play some Dragon Quest, and was also chatting with a buddy of mine online. So I got some Dragon Quest in, and we got to play some EDF, and then I went to bed. I was just like, I'm not gonna. Sorry, stuff happening now. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, I just decided I didn't really want to record or anything, so I just played some games and talked with my friend and went to bed. But still, I had fun. And that's the important thing. Apologies, the dog is crying downstairs, and there's nothing I can do about that, because my roommate is out on the front porch smoking, and she's crying about that. So while I would like to just sit here and wait for her to stop crying, we'll be here forever. And I'd like to get this done. So I'm just going to push through it and just apologize that that's happening. So I got to put the big old square on with the big old gold sticker that doesn't fit quite right. Yep, the Blue Ranger's symbol is a square, and his assigned letter seems to be the letter K. Not sure what the K stands for, because I'm fairly sure his name is Sekai? Or is he Kaizo? I don't know. He might be Kaizo. I could be wrong. I know this isn't on straight, but none of these things ever are, so That's what they get for making the stickers too big. I understand they just kind of want to go around the edges as well and kind of adorn it a bit more, but still. They should have pointed that out on the... Actually, you know, they probably did point it out. It's just in Japanese, and I can't understand it, so... whatever. I was going to put the head on, and the head has another kind of unneeded sticker. Well, the stickers that I'm putting on the faces, they do like accentuate like the gold headbands, which aren't painted on. But they also put stickers over the eyes, which are already painted on. So again, what's the point of that part? It's not like it makes them stay on any better or not. The stickers stay on fine as they are. Now I get to do the back piece that acts as the connector for the robot arm. Found out that's what that was. I mean, I think I mentioned it as well, that that's what that is. Just kind of offhand as I was putting it onto White Kark, but that's what that mystery piece was. It goes onto her back, or on the back of Blue Logan as well, and acts as the connector for the arm. Okay, dog has calmed down now, so hopefully that should be the last we'll hear out of her for at least this video. I also watched the season finale of Better Call Saul last night. I mean, I know it was on the night before, but I'm usually not up super late. I usually go to bed by 10:30 or 11, so I DVR it. And I realize that it's meant to be like a prequel to, you know, Breaking Bad and setting up a lot of the events, and setting up a lot of the characters, I should say. But for a show called Better Call Saul, which is meant to be, you know, seemingly revolving around Saul Goodman, and it does, it also seems to spend a lot of its time revolving around, like, other characters who aren't Saul Goodman. Like, there was a lot of focus on Hector Salamanca for a while, and now there's a lot more focus on Gus Fring and Mike Ehrmantraut, which is fine because I like Gus and I like Mike, so, you know, seeing, you know, all the stuff that happened before they met Walt is, you know, kind of neat. Even though I'm not going to spoil anything about Breaking Bad if you haven't seen it. All I'm going to say is just go ahead and watch Breaking Bad. It's on Netflix and all that. But, you know, I know what happens to all these characters in the end, at least by the end of Breaking Bad. But you also do get to see something that they actually stopped doing, I think in the more recent season. Something that they actually stopped doing was, in between scenes and whatnot, they would show, like, what Saul was doing, like, since the end of Breaking Bad. Like, how he's getting on. And they actually stopped showing a lot of that stuff, I guess, so they could show more Gus, I suppose. It just seems like, you know, for a show that's supposed to be revolving more around, you know, Saul Goodman, his name's in the title, it's mostly about all of these people who he's not even connected to at the time. Like with Breaking Bad, at the very least, all of these characters, you know, did have their links to Walt. So seeing what all of these characters are doing when they're not interacting with Walt is still, you know, important to the overarching story. And I know that it's kind of setting up for the events of Breaking Bad, but at the same time, it's mostly about how Saul Goodman, or Jimmy McGill, his real name as he goes by in the show, like how he came to be before meeting Walt. And yet we're seeing all this stuff revolving around Mike, who Jimmy does interact with, but just barely. And then we do see Tuco. Tuco does interact with Jimmy at the very beginning, but you know, with Hector and Gus, they never see him. Now, to be fair, it's probably going to be important for when they do start meeting up, because by the time Breaking Bad comes around, or at least by season 3 or 4 of Breaking Bad, you know, Jimmy/Saul knows who Gus Fring is. But it's like, a lot of the setups seem to be like, oh look, this is how he built the underground meth lab that Walt was in through season 4. Yeah, that's pretty cool, and it is. I'm not saying it's not, but it's a show about Saul Goodman. I'd like to see Saul Goodman doing, a little bit more stuff. But the show's still good. I'm not going to say it's not. It is still a good show. I would dare say, like, you could probably, it feels like kind of one of those things, kind of like Star Wars, I guess. It's kind of a weird, like, which one should you watch first? Should you watch Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad first? Better Call Saul is a prequel to Breaking Bad, yes, but it also has a lot of references and callbacks to Breaking Bad. Whereas it's kind of like Star Wars, where do you, God forbid, watch the prequels first, or do you watch the original trilogy before watching the prequels? I mean, if you ask me, don't watch the prequels at all. But the point is like, do you see the setup for the movies that came before it, or do you see the original trilogy first? And see the twists firsthand. I mean, I know it's not exactly a twist where Darth Vader comes from. At this point, everyone knows who Darth Vader is. But, there are people do exist who haven't seen Star Wars before. And even they probably know who Darth Vader is. But I don't like using it's been around for so long that if you don't know the twists that's the thing that a lot of people try to fall back on, is like, if it's been out for so long and you don't know the twists, then you're still primed to be spoiled or something like that. I don't think that that's necessarily fair, to people. Like, I'm at a point now. I haven't played Final Fantasy VII all the way through. Everyone and their mom has played Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII has been out for over 20 years. And I haven't played. I've only played the very beginning of Final Fantasy VII, and I know that Aerith dies. Everyone knows that Aerith dies. I mean, I'm being a hypocrite by just kind of spoiling Final Fantasy VII, but and again, it's the hypocritical thing of the point I'm trying to make is that it's not necessarily fair to those people. I don't feel that I'm going to enjoy Final Fantasy VII as much when I finally get around to playing it again and playing it all the way through. I'm trying to avoid as many spoilers and talking about like Final Fantasy V and 6 as I possibly can. Even though like everyone's played Final Fantasy VI by now and knows everything about Final Fantasy VI, all I know is that there are a lot of characters that you play as. I think I did play a good distance into Final Fantasy VI back when I did or was playing it, but like I know that Kefka's the bad guy, Kefka's the final boss, he ends up destroying the world, and I know what he looks like in his final boss form. But that's pretty much it. I just think, like, overall, at least from what I can see, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy Final Fantasy VII as much as I think I'll enjoy Final Fantasy VI. Who knows? I might be surprised. I might think I might join the legions and say Final Fantasy VII is the best Final Fantasy game or the best game ever or whatever. I don't think I'll go that far. Hell, my favorite JRPG is Chrono Trigger, and I don't think anything will ever change my mind about that. And I mainly see, at least as far as I've played, I mainly see Final Fantasy VII as a super overrated thing, but a lot of people also like Final Fantasy IX. I like Final Fantasy IX a lot. Final Fantasy IX is probably my favorite of the Final Fantasy games I played. Well, Final Fantasy XIV and Realm Reborn is up there too, but I really don't count those like in the same sort of thing as each other, because Final Fantasy XIV is an online game. And in all honesty, I don't think that Square had any business putting the online games in the main series for Final Fantasy. It doesn't make any sense for them to do that. I've always felt this way. And even back when 11 was out, I'm like, why is this 11? And then Final Fantasy 12 was coming out, and I remember telling people, because I did play 11 for a while, and I mentioned that, that Final Fantasy 11 shouldn't have been a main series title, and that Final Fantasy 12 should be Final Fantasy 11. And then I think someone was dumb enough to ask, well, then what would they call this game? What would they call Final Fantasy XI then? And I'm just like, Final Fantasy Online. That's what it... And I still think that's how it should have been. It should have gone like Final Fantasy X, then Final Fantasy XI coming out. That would have been Final Fantasy Online. 12 would have been 11. 13 would have been 12. 14 would have been Online 2. And 15 would have been 13. Or Versus 12, or whatever you want to call it. I don't frickin' know. But I think that's how it should have been. Just didn't end up that way. Same thing with Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest X is an online game. Why not just call it Dragon Quest Online, and then Dragon Quest XI could have been Dragon Quest X. Would have made more sense that way. But no, Square Enix doesn't want to make sense. I'll say there's a lot of stickers I haven't used yet, but they're all being used in like the same sort of part here. Editing these videos is going to take forever. I'm going to be watching through most of them in order to be able to actually find out what parts to cut out and whatnot. So the videos aren't gonna end up being like as long as they're recorded for, but I still have to watch through all of them. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be like a nightmare or anything to edit. It's just gonna take forever. Just because I got 5 of these and they're all going up one day after the other. Oh wow! I just realized I forgot to delete the last video off of the memory here. That was smart. So, well, I don't think I'm going to be using up the 24 minutes that I have left allotted right away. It's still kind of unfortunate that I forgot to do that. I'm just kind of rushing into doing this. And there we go. So here we have the blue Logan figure. Same sort of articulation as White Kark does, because it does have the same mold and engineering to it, just slightly different aesthetics to it, because he also makes an arm for that. It does have a different weapon, though. This is the Logan shaft. It is a staff that he holds like this in his hand, if I can get it in there. So it kind of holds it kind of like a tonfa or whatever. That's pretty cool. So that's Blue Logan done, and that's 4 out of 5 of our figures done. And when we come back, we will complete Black Gabber, and we will also show off the combination and everything for the Muteki Shogun itself. But until then, I've been Rado Goji, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?